Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of In the End There's Always a Disney Guy. But before we even get into today's episode, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm gonna give you a minute to do so. You guys already know what to do, it ain't nothing new. So get it done, hurry it up, and let's get to popping. Come on, because we don't got all day. Let's get it done. Come on. I got a couple of seconds, it shouldn't even take that long. Okay, let's get started. So today we're gonna be discussing and reviewing Moon Knight episode 1 today. Um, as you guys know, I always warn you guys of this, but there will be just a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the series, please watch it before you listen to this episode. I would hate to ruin it for you, so please, go go and watch the show before you watch this episode. I would hate to have to ruin something that you probably haven't seen. But let's get started. Moon Knight is Marvel Studios' biggest gamble yet on Disney Plus. Yes, it's the first one of these pricey series to be led by a character completely new to the MCU, but that character is also a complex and often downright impenetrable one. Beloved by his Marvel Comics fans and occasionally mocked by those who consider him to be Marvel's much less cool version of Batman. We get precisely zero Batman vibes in the first episode of the new Disney Plus show where we meet the painfully uncool Stephen Grant, a timid British museum gift shop employee who thinks he has a sleep disorder. Stephen ties himself to his bed every night and seals the door so he can check that he hasn't been wandering the streets of London during his slumber. He's still exhausted, though and regularly thou and regular no yeah though and regularly gets into hot water at work for being late and having ideas above his station. Stephen is passionate about ancient Egypt and seems to be by all accounts a lovely man on the verge of starting a romance with a beautiful co-worker who he doesn't even remember asking out. At one point, Steven voices his concerns around aloud. If I'm going to have a girlfriend at some point, obviously I can't have ankle restraints on my bed, can I? That the that's the definition of a red flag, which got my first big laugh. If there had been a documentary crew filming me, I would have looked straight to camera. Of course, it's not long before Steven finds himself out of bed and into trouble, having traveled some way while attempting 40 winks. He's suddenly in imminent danger. He appears to have been on a mission to steal a golden scarab from the possession of one Arthur Harrow, a deadly cult leader who is dishing out mortal punishments on behalf of the Egyptian goddess Amet. She can apparently tell if your misdeeds outweigh your good ones, and if those misdeeds happen to be part of some muddy future that hasn't transpired yet, yeah, she'll nip those right in the bud. Harrow is established as our bad guy when he passes judgment on a couple of his followers using a mysterious cane and a tattoo of some scales, and it comes across as quite silly despite Hawk's enigmatic scenery chewing even before the disturbing sequence descends into slapstick. In fact, there's a lot of really cool stuff in this episode that ends up a little smudged by either its underwhelming CG or Isaac's quirky central performance as the flappable Steven, which is unfortunate. This is also the point in the episode where things inevitably get confusing as a panicking Stephen flips back and forth between his own identity and that of Mark Spector, a mercenary who seems to be working with the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. Moon Knight fans who were curious about how the MCU would handle Spector's brutal fighting style will probably be a bit miffed to discover that this first episode mostly uses cuts between these two identities to skip past Mark's bloodier moments rather than pull them on full display, keeping such battles as Disney friendly as possible, which I don't blame them. The back half of the episode concerns itself with helping Steven start to understand that his marriage life has been a sham by way of his reflected interactions with Mark, during which time he is stalked by No Shoe. Not for nothing, I love the way No Shoe has been designed for the series. He really does look perfect. Casting F. Murray Abraham as the voice of Moon God is masterful. Steven also learns that a woman called Layla can probably assume that this is the MCU's version of Marlene from the comics, has been looking for Mark for a long time before the villainous Harrow gives Steven a quiet exposition-y talk on Amit and how if she was around, she would have totally just killed baby Hitler, Pol Pot, whatever. Just like the Thanos strangling Rodney Hooray. I will say it is refreshing to watch the ambitious Marvel show that isn't filled with Easter eggs. There's a quick glimpse of the name Duck Chump on Mark's flip phone, or in universe callbacks. Moon Knight doesn't have to concern itself with dropping breadcrumbs and can just get on with telling its own story from the ground up. The MCU version of Stephen Grant is admittedly quite irritating, but at least he's very different. He's a very different protagonist for us to root for. I'm interested to find out how much of Steven's gentle good heart might be at odds with Mark's mercenary brutality later on. So yeah, that is the review for Moon Knight episode 1. I hope you enjoyed that intel. Like I said, please watch the show before you watch any of these episodes, because they will get into what happened in the episode. But thank you guys for listening in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And you guys already know what to do. Check out Anchor for the podcast and everything on that, so you can get more insight on this podcast. So yeah, thank you guys for listening in. And yeah, bye-bye, guys.